My name is Larry, and I want to talk to you about the most effective alternative cancer therapy that I know of.
So back in 2002, I think it was, it was 2002, I was diagnosed with stage 3 colorectal cancer. And it's kind of funny, my whole, probably 5 years before I found that out, I was really focused on just cancer therapy and knew some people that had cancer and kind of had to worry myself about it. And I was overweight, and I found out that I had stage 3 rectal cancer. And so all the things that I had thinking about for a while were kind of in the back of my mind. And I had done some research, and I'd heard about Dr. Otto Warburg. I had also heard a lot about and read a lot about Gerson and his therapy over in Germany. And there was a couple of local people here in Colorado Springs that they were using Gerson's therapy here as a kind of an outreach, kind of a clinic. It was a spiritually based, a Christian-based, outfit. And so I decided to focus on the juice fasting and Gerson stuff, and really didn't know a whole lot more about, Warburg's therapy and research with cesium, chloride, and pH, balancing. So I did the whole Gerson thing. I went from 240 pounds to probably 170. I did one round of radiation and chemotherapy, which I wish I had never done. But anyway, I did all of that, and I was diagnosed in October, and then in February I had convinced my insurance company to let me do kind of a final, endoscopic ultrasound and imaging protocol before I was going to have the surgery. So I had scheduled the surgery. I was scared to death, super frightened, and but I had a bunch of really amazing things happen that probably aren't part of this call because it's a long story. But I had this really weird experience where I came to understand that my cancer had disappeared. And so anyway, I had this ultrasound, and my doctor was mad at me because I'd actually put my surgery off about 2 or 3 weeks later than I should have based on their timing. And the cancer was gone, so it was like really great. And I had gotten my doctors upset, my wife was upset, my brother who's a doctor was upset because I was doing all of these crazy juice cleanses and getting my body super alkaline and just changing my diet. I lost a lot of weight, really. Everybody was kind of freaked out what I did. But anyway, I had a good result. So about 4 months later, I had, I've got 4 kids, and I was at an indoor soccer game, and I was sitting on the bleachers, and when I had the cancer and didn't know it yet, I started to have this kind of annoying pain back in October 2002 that kind of was like this, prelude to the pain that I probably would have had increased quite a bit if the cancer had progressed where it was. And I'm sitting there on the bleachers watching this lacrosse game, this soccer game, and I feel like, I beat cancer and everything's great. I'm probably about 175 pounds. A whole bunch of things in my life have changed. I'm really thankful. And I started to feel that gnawing pain again, that kind of thing down there, because it was like the tumor was right behind my prostate and my rectum. So I got pretty scared about that, and that got my attention. So I had created a big file of all of the things that I did, and I've kind of recorded that, written that down, the yoga exercises, the Chinese medicine, the dietary protocol. And I had also copied a couple of things from Dr. Otto Warburg and some of the stuff that I had researched. And I said, I should take a look at that. So I was kind of worried that the cancer was coming back. It was only, 4 months after diagnosis. And then it kind of disappeared. So I actually went on to the Essence of Life website after I started doing some research, and I ordered some of the cesium and the potassium. And I remember after I ordered it, you actually called me up, and you asked me what was going on, and I think I told you briefly, and I thought that was pretty unusual that somebody would call me up from a company on the internet. So anyway, the cesium chloride came, and I started taking that, and I would say within 2 or 3 days, that gnawing pain just stopped. And I never went and had another scan. I was really leery of doctors and that whole kind of thing there. So I think I stayed on the cesium chloride for about 8 months. Heavy, full dosing, and then I cut back to kind of a maintenance dose. I felt great. I mean, I just, had no symptoms. And I was, kind of over that period of time, I had gone and had a couple of more CT scans. When I had my cancer go away and I declined to have a surgery, my oncologist and my surgeon asked me what they thought that they should do with me, that I wasn't following their protocol. And they were kind of being facetious, but they were also trying to cover themselves, and they had me sign this form that would say that I would not go after them, and that I would help work out some kind of a 3 to 5 year monitoring protocol that had no precedence in medical practice. But they wanted to know what I thought, so we were doing, I think, 2 CT scans a year for the first 2 years, and then I think 1 or 2 colonoscopies a year, and then it kind of gradually got less and less over a 4 or 5 year period. So anyway, I think after that kind of cesium chloride year, and now I'm going on my 2nd year of being cancer free. I think I was doing the cesium chloride, for 2 months a year for the next 4 or 5 years, and still eating really good food. I changed my diet. I really was trying to be more alkaline than not. I had gone through a whole bunch of different diets, totally raw, all vegetarian, paleo diets, all these different diets I tried, and I finally settled on something that I think is pretty good. But anyway, so fast forward 16 years later, and I had that feeling again, sort of really subtle, and I started on the cesium chloride again, and I feel great. I'm doing kind of a modified thing right now, where I probably will do like a low dose cesium for a month or 2, and then I'll take a break. But again, I'm feeling great. I haven't had a scan in probably 8 years. I had a colonoscopy last year, and everything was super clean, super good, no polyps. My GI doc, who was the doctor that was with me back, 17 years ago, he's gotten older. I've gotten older, and when I came in for my colonoscopy, he had all of his staff come by and talk to me, because I was the guy that beat stage 3 rectal cancer. And he did a colonoscopy, and I had been coming back once a year for a long time, and I was so clean and so free of polyps and anything. He said, I'm going to put you on 5 years for your next colonoscopy. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I think the cesium chloride is incredibly powerful. You've also turned me on to the colostrum, Larry, and that just has all kinds of amazing benefits for my GI tract and for my skin, and it just makes me feel great. And I gave that to my son, who's in China right now. He's a musician, a drummer, and he loves that. He was home visiting over the summer, and I gave him one of the bags, and he takes that, and he's going to be ordering his own now. And he's introduced that into his protocol, and so everything is really great. It just amazes me that the cesium chloride and that protocol that really has its basis back in Dr. Otto Warburg's research. I just can't believe it that more people don't understand that, use that. That's not a thing that people incorporate into their lives and their protocol, whether they want to do the Western medicine combined with that or whether they want to do anything, with it or standalone. It just amazes me that more people don't do that. I have a write-up that I included and talked about your website and about the link and about when I started to use the cesium chloride and how I've used it over the years. And I've given that to probably dozens of people. And I'm sure probably, some have used that. I know of two that have and know of a lot that haven't. And a lot of them have passed away. So anyway, I'm really thankful for Dr. Otto Warburg and Essence of Life. And I think it's amazing. And I'm very thankful.
How important do you think cesium chloride was in what you did?
I think it's the reason I'm here. I think I did a really great thing for my body using the Gerson protocol and the alkalization that happened in my body with the raw juice fasting and the coffee enemas and that whole protocol. But I think that the cancer was going to come back on me. I think it was coming back on me. And I don't think that I could have stayed on that protocol for that long. And it helped. It really reduced the cancer. But I think the cesium chloride is what actually changed the environment and totally eradicated. Well, I think I'm thinking that the cesium chloride, my understanding right now, Larry, and maybe you disagree, maybe you wouldn't, but my understanding now is that it's probably a mistake to say that cesium chloride cures cancer. Cesium chloride creates an environment that cancer can't live in. And that's what I think is a better way to look at it. But I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, but when you tell somebody that cesium chloride cured me, I think that it comes across like it's a medicine, like it's some kind of a medical treatment. And I really think it's an environmental, internal environment that cancer can't live in. And that's kind of how I've come to think about how cesium chloride works. And I think that I probably would be dead by now if I had not used that.
I think you're absolutely 100% on. It does create an environment cancer can't live in. That's my take on it. And so, how many years have you been cancer free?
17.
Wow. They stopped keeping records after that you've become cancer free from the medical profession for only 5 years.
Yeah. And 5 years is good. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I think everybody would take 5 extra years after having cancer would make anybody happy once they've been told they do have cancer. But to be 17 years is pretty amazing. And that's a good thing.
Well, if you got to go, I hope you go, and it's not from cancer.
Yeah, me too. I just love this extra time that I've had, Larry, and I really I do appreciate you and your company. I'd love to at another time talk to you about how you started, Essence of Life, and why you started it, why you do what you do. I would love to learn about that. And, from time to time, I sometimes think of just calling you up and asking some questions, but we'll save that for another time. But I do appreciate you, and I hope that this conversation will be helpful for you in some way. And it's my pleasure to take the time to talk to you about that. And everything that I've told you is, it's heartfelt. It's my perception. And again, I'm not a doctor. I'm an architect. I work on a lot of hospital buildings, actually. And, I've been trying to stay healthy and to kind of find a way to dance through life and keep things in balance. And I really do believe that I'd be dead if I didn't have the cesium chloride. And I had a friend who had melanoma, and he did the cesium chloride. And he also used another product that was it's a kind of a herbal ointment called PDQ. But when he found out he had a melanoma that had a root about 1.5 inches long going down into his leg, he got the PDQ and got the cesium chloride and potassium, and that thing just kind of bubbled up and fell out of his leg. And that was a really radical event that happened too. And he would tell you the same thing, that the cesium chloride was, instrumental. And I think he's done a couple of protocols over the years. He's not quite as diligent as I am, but he would tell you the same thing, that the cesium chloride was the game changer.
Well, that's good. Well, listen, I appreciate your time and effort and what you do, and I want to thank you.
You're welcome, Larry.
For getting well.
Yep. All right. Well, I got to check out and get back to my work day, but I hope that this is a good call, and that I can become I hope someone in the future might hear this, and it might motivate them to do something, to do a couple of good moves that can extend their life and their walk on the planet while they're here.
I hope so too, Guy. So anyhow, you have a great day, and thanks a lot for your help.
Thanks, Larry. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye now.